Prolonged sitting is something most people over 60 accept as a normal part of life. But your legs aren't just resting when you sit for hours. They're quietly sending distress signals your body has been trying to get through to you. And by the time you feel that heaviness, that stiffness, or that strange aching at the end of the day, your circulatory system may have already been struggling for months. I'm Sophia, and I spend my time reading the actual research on healthy aging, not the headlines, the studies themselves, so you don't have to. Today, I'm breaking down what researchers at the American Heart Association and the National Institute on Aging have found about what prolonged sitting does to the legs and the cardiovascular system after 60, and 5 things you can start doing this week that are backed by real science. And stick around, because number 4 is the one that consistently shows up in the strongest research, and most people never hear about it. Maybe it's that feeling at the end of the afternoon. Your calves feel dense and tight, like they've been wrapped too tightly. Maybe you've stood up too quickly and felt that pins and needles rush move through your lower legs before they feel normal again. Maybe your ankles look a little puffier by evening than they did in the morning, and you've started wearing looser socks without quite knowing why. Maybe you've noticed that climbing stairs feels harder than it used to, not because your lungs are struggling, but because your legs feel heavier than they should. You're not imagining it, and it's not just aging. Here's what's actually happening. When you sit for long stretches, your leg muscles stop contracting. And those contractions are not just movement, they are the pump. Your heart pushes blood down to your legs, but it is your calf muscles contracting and releasing that help push that blood back up against gravity. When you sit still, that pump goes quiet. Blood begins to pool in the veins of the lower legs. The walls of those veins are under more pressure than they were designed to handle for extended periods. According to research supported by the National Institute on Aging, prolonged sedentary time is associated with reduced venous return, increased leg swelling, and measurable changes in arterial stiffness, even in people who exercise regularly at other points in the day. That last part is important. You cannot cancel out 8 hours of sitting with a 30-minute walk. The damage from long, uninterrupted sitting accumulates separately. And for people over 60, whose vascular elasticity is already naturally decreasing, this is not a minor inconvenience. It is a real physiological stress on the system that keeps your legs healthy and your blood moving. Now, you've probably already tried the obvious things. Maybe you've tried elevating your legs at the end of the day and it helped briefly. Then you woke up the next morning and the cycle started again. Maybe someone told you to drink more water and walk more. But nobody explained why hydration alone does nothing if your calf pump has been shut off for 6 hours straight. That's because most advice stops at the surface and never explains what's actually happening underneath. Treating the swelling without addressing the cause is like emptying a bucket without turning off the faucet. So here is what the research actually supports. 1. Break your sitting every 30 minutes with 2 minutes of calf movement. You do not need to stand up and walk across the room. You can raise and lower your heels while seated, slowly and deliberately, 10 to 15 times. Here's why this works. Even small calf contractions restart the venous pump and move blood back toward the heart. The 2-minute mark matters. Research published in journals covering sedentary behavior shows that interruptions of even 90 seconds to 2 minutes significantly reduce the blood pooling that accumulates in the lower legs during unbroken sitting. 2. Use a rocking motion at your ankles during long sits. Flex your foot up, then point it down, alternating slowly. Here's why this works. The ankle joint controls blood flow through the posterior tibial vein, one of the main return pathways from the foot and lower leg. Keeping that joint moving keeps that pathway active. You can do this completely invisibly while watching television, reading, or sitting at a table. 3. Wear graduated compression socks during your longest sitting periods. Here's why this works. Compression socks apply gentle pressure that is highest at the ankle and decreases as it moves up the leg. This gradient mimics what the calf muscle pump is supposed to do and prevents blood from pooling at the lowest point. A study referenced by the Cleveland Clinic supports their use in adults with venous insufficiency symptoms and in those who sit for more than 4 hours at a time. Look for a compression level of 15 to 20 millimeters of mercury. That is the standard therapeutic range for daily use without a prescription. Now this next one surprised even me when I read the research. So stay with me. 4. Time your longer walks for after meals, not just in the morning. Here's why this works. After eating, your body directs increased blood flow toward the digestive system. In older adults, this post-meal demand can reduce circulation to the extremities at the same time that blood sugar is rising. A short 10 to 15-minute walk after meals, particularly after lunch and dinner, has been shown in research cited by Harvard Health Publishing to improve post-meal circulation, reduce arterial stiffness, and lower blood sugar spikes, all of which directly affect how well the legs recover from the sitting that follows. This is not about burning calories. It is about keeping the vascular system active during the window when it is most likely to stagnate. 5. Hydrate with a small amount of water every hour, rather than large amounts infrequently. Here's why this works. Blood viscosity increases when you are mildly dehydrated. Thicker blood moves more slowly through already compressed veins. In legs that are already struggling with reduced pump activity, dehydration compounds the problem. Smaller, consistent hydration keeps blood fluid without overloading the kidneys, which, after 60, handle large fluid loads less efficiently than they once did. Aim for roughly 4 to 6 ounces every hour, rather than waiting until you feel thirsty. Thirst is a late signal in older adults. What makes these 5 things different from generic advice is that each one addresses the actual mechanism, the calf pump, the venous return pathway, the blood viscosity, the arterial stiffness, rather than just the symptom. And none of them require a gym, a prescription, or a significant change in your schedule. They are adjustments to what you are already doing. If this helped you understand what your body's been trying to tell you about your legs, subscribe, because next week I'm breaking down what poor leg circulation does to sleep quality in people over 60, which connects directly to everything we just covered. And if you have noticed swelling in just one leg, or unusual warmth or redness, that pattern is different from general venous pooling and worth understanding separately. I made a video specifically on the warning signs that deserve a call to your doctor, and the link is right here.